Now, I wasn't really planning on making this kind of video, but I just ended up doing so because I really got motivated now because of arguments that I've been having on Twitter, and I've been enjoying myself. I'm very motivated because of a certain person on Twitter. Hey, this video goes out to you, so let's get right into it. Fallout, the show, to be precise, has caused a lot of issues, and for me, I'm going to be breaking them down step by step, starting off with the whole Shady Sands timeline debacle. So let's go step by step with it. First things first, we should look at what the full timeline looks like. Well, I have this timeline that was provided through the website winteriscoming.net, and the timeline says in 2077 the Great War started, in 2102 Fallout 76 happened, 2161 is the original Fallout, then 2241 Fallout 2, 2277 is Fallout 3, 2281 is Fallout New Vegas, and 2287 is Fallout 4, and to end it off, 2296, the Fallout show. Now, that's all fine and dandy. Like, we can all agree that's the timeline that we are looking at as of right now. But the issue is, in a specific episode, if I'm not wrong, episode 6 of the Fallout show, we get introduced to Shady Sands. And Shady Sands has a turbulent timeline. And where does this turbulent timeline comes from? Well, on the chalkboard in a Vault 4 timeline, the Shady Sands. At the end of it, it says the fall of Shady Sands 2277 with an arrow that a majority of people for some reason decide to forget even exists, an arrow pointing to a nuclear blast. Now, it goes down to the whole thing where you get to choose, do you believe that 2277 is the nuke, or after 2277, after the fall of Shady Sands, is the nuke? Well, I believe that it's after 2277. And why do I believe so? Simple enough. We'll look at one of the characters. We have a character that survived through the explosion of Shady Sands, and survived at a young age. Who is that character? Maximus. We saw Maximus get his motivation to become part of the Brotherhood of Steel through the nuke at Shady Sands. He survives by going into a fridge and then coming outside and seeing a Brotherhood knight. Well, if you look at Maximus, if you look at how young he looks, you can put him in the range of, let's say, 7 being the minimum, 10 being the maximum. Then we look at him all grown up in 2296. It's really simple maths. Let's do it. But first and foremost, let's take as if the nuke did drop on on Shady Sands in 2277. So if we do that, we just simple math, 2277 minus 2296, that gives us 19 years. Now, if you look at Maximus at the age of 8 and adding onto that 19 years to show the beginning of the Fallout show, well, he comes to the age of 27. Or if you want to knock it down, you'll get the minimum at 26, if 7 to 10, 26, and the maximum at 29. That seems too old because he is still a wastelander that hasn't acclimated to the way of the Brotherhood of Steel. That's just how he is in the show. We saw him since the beginning of him learning through the Brotherhood, getting slapped in the face with a ruler. He is not acclimated 100% like everybody else. When did he join? Well, that's the timeline that we are looking at. We don't know when he joined. We just saw the motivation to him joining and then him in. We didn't see the whole process. But if we look at the date of 2281, the same year as Fallout New Vegas, things get a very much more interesting. If we look at 2281 minus 2281 minus 2296, well, we get 15 years. And if we were to look at that 15 years and put it to the 8-year-old Maximus, well, his age would be 23 at the beginning of the show. So 23, minimum would be 22, maximum will be 25. And that seems like a better range for how old he is in Fallout, the show. They didn't put anything in stone, but these things are called context clues, and context clues are there for a reason. It's not just bad writing. It ain't. Just pay attention to the context clues. You can't just wipe away the arrow pointing to the nuke, which means and then. You can't do that. Pay attention. Next, we have another thing dealing with Shady Sands, and that is the location of Shady Sands. Now, in front of you, what I have currently is the map of modern-day California, and this is going to be our base, because we are dealing with the NCR, we are dealing with the west coast of the US in the shows, in the games, so we are going to be looking at their source material, and I assume this is their source material. If they squeeze it down, scale it up, well, hey, we don't know. First, we will be putting on top of the map the Fallout map, the original Fallout map. But to just start off to show how I did this, in my eyes, I looked at this point, Lompoc, over here, below Santa Maria. This is my point. The maps for Fallout, they all tend to have a little jut out of it in the southern side of the map, so I tried to line it up as much as I can with this point. That's how I did it. So let's look at it. First things first, the Fallout map, and you can see, like, hey, they were not wrong. They weren't. You can see Lompoc over here. You can see Boneyard is on Los Angeles Cathedral. And then you look up and there's Shady Sands in Nevada, where everybody is saying Shady Sands is located. Hey, I see it. I did this just to show that, hey, that's where it is. Now, let's look at the Fallout 2 map. Now things get a little more interesting, because the Fallout 2 map is much different than the original, and it's bigger. It's like it's scaled down, but it's also widened. So you get that sense of distance. But that's the thing. Now, Shady Sands is in Bakersfield. And then you come over here. The glow is still in the approximate area, Boneyard. We can even try to adjust it. I'll even adjust it to where everything is. Let's duplicate this guy. Let's bring Boneyard. Let's bring it this much. Just like that. Now, as you can see, let's remove this. Shady Sands is still in. It's still in California. I don't know what to tell you. Shady Sands is in the middle of Mojave Desert. You have the Vault 13, Vault 15, but now you have the Boneyard is in the correct place. Like, should we scale it up? Let's scale it up even more, just to make sure we can get it. Oops. Just to make sure we can get it to the proper size to say that, hey, this is not correct. Just this much. Where's Boneyard right here? Well, it's even like, I don't know what to tell you. It's still the same thing. Like junk. Now, Vault 13 is taking the place of Junktown. The scaling is weird, and you can even say this is a slight retcon. You can even say I'm not sure, and this is a retcon between Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. I'm just messing around with this, and we'll even do another special thing. We'll even rotate it. We'll rotate it to make sure that the jut, this thing, lines up properly, and it still. They're still in the middle of the Mojave Desert, still in those places. I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying. I'm honestly trying. You can see me trying, and well, I can't do it justice. I can't. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Who knows? But literally, I just put everything together to show that, hey, retconning could happen even from then. My definition of retcon could have been a little wrong. I'm not saying that, hey, I'm not saying I was completely right, but I'll say that my definition of context, or retcon, I mean, could be wrong. Definitely, I just looked it up, and yes, it could be considered a recontextualization, but it wasn't a retcon that started from the show. They didn't just do it to do it. No, it is something that was just happening already. It happened from Fallout 1 to Fallout 2. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is IGN coming out and saying Fallout is pretty great. It would have been better weekly. Even if it was weekly, it wouldn't really matter if we got it now or we get it spoon fed or drip fed to us. It wouldn't really matter. They could have done something like Arcane, where once they dropped the first season, they would drop it weekly, but it was 3 episodes per week. That was pretty good. At least like we had good chunks to go off of to enjoy our time. And even if they dropped everything from now, because Fallout, every episode had a previously on Fallout, the recap. Each episode had a recap. It seemed like it was supposed to come out on a weekly basis, but something happened that they decided to just drop it all together at the same time. The ones that are going to binge the show right now are the ones that really love the stuff in front of them, that really love the show, the games, the lore. They're gonna binge the show. But the ones like that are just enjoying their time using Amazon Video, they're not gonna binge it. Maybe they'll watch one episode and then forget about it, and then watch another one next week. Not everybody binges shows like us, like gamers. Gamers rise up. As a consumer, it doesn't really affect us. I guess if they want to do like a ratings thing, I feel like it would actually worsen the feel of just doing it on a weekly basis, because then it would kill the momentum sometimes, because no one really, I understand everybody loved the show, but having it on a weekly basis doesn't mean everybody is going to be watching it weekly. No, some people will sit down and just let it finish all 9 episodes and then watch it, or some people will watch 2 episodes, forget about it, and then watch it again in like 2 months. Some people will drop it from the first 2 episodes. From the first episode, it doesn't matter. They dropped it all and we all enjoyed it, and we might come back to watch it all 9 episodes again in, let's say, the 2 to 3 months. Who knows? Now, completing all these issues, I had a couple of things that I want to say. Why is everybody just focusing completely on Shady Sands? My questions, which I will tell you, are really like, I'm surprised no one even asked about it, was what was the vial that was keeping the ghouls sane? Like, that's a very new thing. Seeing Mr. House was cool, but where did he go? Did he have his own vault? Who moved him from the vault to New Vegas? Who built New Vegas? These things are coming out right now, and it's throwing me out on a loop. Like, who helped them build New Vegas? When was New Vegas built? Because by the time we get into New Vegas in 2281, Mr. House is decrepit. How did he end up like that too? What happened to all the super mutants? It was weirdly empty of super mutants. It wasn't something like Fallout 3 that we found a way to purify the HEV or something. Like, we got one sneak peek at the super mutant through the Enclave while we were following the scientist. We saw the hand of the super mutant while he was walking by it, but other than that, where did they go? I was sure that we would see a death claw, but we ended up just seeing a skull. So also, what happened to death claws? Did they get wiped out? Those are my questions. And hey, if you have any more questions, drop them in the comment section below and I will try my best to answer them. And if you like this video, hey, drop a like and why not subscribe? If you didn't like this video, and I know for a fact you're gonna dislike it, you know who. Dislike it if you want to dislike it. Hey, it's your choice. And I will see you here next time. See you.